Welcome back, Stack in the Box. My name is Mike Luciano, and I am joined by Pro Bowler, 8,000 career receiving yards, 10-year NFL veteran, Notre Dame great, Golden Tate. Golden, thank you for being with us today on behalf of Smirnoff, I believe.
Yeah, man, thanks for having me.
So, what exactly are you doing with Smirnoff? It's pickleball. It sounds pretty interesting, I gotta say, from what I've heard.
Yeah, so I've become a pretty big pickleball fan over the last few years since retiring. I love the community part of it. I love the competitiveness, and I love that it keeps me moving with my lateral quickness and so on and so forth. But I had a unique experience come my way. I get to represent Smirnoff and talking about their brand new Smirnoff SMASH Vodka soda, which I had a chance to check out in Ann Arbor last night, and man, those things are good. And they're only like 100 calories, gluten free. So I like to say that they're healthy. And so I've been hanging out with the Smirnoff people, and they are awesome. And drinking the drink, and then tonight I get to go play pickleball at Wolverine Pickleball out in Ann Arbor. Only knock is I'm a Notre Dame guy, and I'm excited to be hanging out with all the University of Michigan fans. But we're gonna look past this time. But yeah, just gonna be playing some pickleball, maybe having a few of those vodka smashes, maybe smashing the ball on some people. But we're gonna have some fun.
I was about to say it's too much maize and blue for a gold domer like you, but sounds like you're making the most of it. Most of you will probably remember Golden from his time with the Detroit Lions. Some of those really exciting early mid 2000s teams, Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, of course, Golden over there. Now, you guys had some good teams, but not an NFC championship level team like the Lions had last year. Having spent so much time in Detroit, what do you think that last year and especially the hot start this year means for that city? Because that seems like a great fan base that it was a long time coming for them. Like, how happy are you to finally see the Lions kind of among the elite?
It's like you said, it's been a long time coming. I mean, people have literally waited lifetimes to be called a winner and to have a high expectation and expect to win week in and week out versus hoping to win week in and week out. And I think that's a big part of the culture has just completely changed in the organization, but also following with the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit. It's just a gritty town. And I think Dan Campbell fits the personality of this state so perfectly, just like gritty. Like I just you think about Detroit, you just bite the kneecaps. I mean, it fits perfectly. So unfortunately, we didn't get it done when I was playing, but it's I'm really proud to call myself a Lions alumni and fan nowadays. And man, the personality and the players that we have on that team from top to bottom, the Detroit Lions are one of the most complete teams in the NFL. And I've been saying it all preseason, all off season that this team, only team is going to stop the Detroit Lions will be the Detroit Lions and potentially injury. So if we can stay healthy, stay focused, like the sky's the limit. And the way this skeleton's built at this point, it sets us up to be good for a long time, to be like the Patriots when they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And so if we just keep drafting well, keep Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson and AG together, protect Jared Goff, keep drafting guys like Jahmyr Gibbs and Jamison Williams and Amon Ra and Penny. I mean, we can do so much for such a long time, and it makes it awesome now that Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are not in our division anymore. So we're in a good place.
Now, forgive the editorializing, but I'm just going to say that probably the best receiver you ever played with was Calvin Johnson for those first 2 years in Detroit, because he probably had about as good a 4 year stretch as a receiver's probably ever had ever. Going up with Cal for a team that threw the ball all the time, with like Matthew Stafford kind of getting into his prime with you guys. What was it like just as a number two receiver going up and watching Calvin Johnson do his thing, and you're just like, oh man, I can't wait to see what he's going to do today. It had to be great just seeing that in person.
You know, you talking about a special person from top to bottom, the athleticism to personality to work ethic. I mean, he's one of those guys that's really easy to root for. Like you just all the success, I want you to have it. And I remember when I first got to Detroit, I'm pretty high confidence in my game, and I never really thought of myself as a number two receiver. I always told myself I'm going to go push as far as I can take it, and you know. there was a very short stint where I thought I was better than Calvin Johnson. And then I realized after like a few practices that, okay, this guy is just completely different. And here's the instance what happened. So we're after training camp one day, and Calvin's like, hey, G, let's go run some gassers after a really hard practice. And I'm tired, but so he's not. And I said, okay, yeah, let's go run some gassers. And so we run half gassers, and he starts running, and he looks like, just very slow motion, like effortless. And like you got me like head down, pumping my arms, like working hard, and he's trying to have a conversation, and I'm just trying to keep up with him. And then that's when I realized, like, man, he is just built different. And then the other instance was we were routes on air. Matthew Stafford we throw a go route. He runs a go route. Matthew throws it 40 yards, 50 yards down the field. Calvin Johnson glides under it, catches it, boom, easy. Next play, Stafford's a quarterback again. Run the same exact route on air. I run it. I'm running as fast as I can. He throws around the 40, 45, 50 yards as well. But me, I am like pumping so freaking hard trying to get up on this ball. And he overthrows a little bit to the point where I had to like jump up and make a catch and fall to the ground. And I was like, okay, again, Calvin's just a lot different. I mean, the length, the quickness, the speed, the strength, he just has, God gifted him with every attribute to make a perfect receiver.
I, I really do wish those Lions teams kind of broke through, because not only that, but you had Jim Caldwell, who I still don't know to this day how after he left Detroit how he didn't get another head coaching job. Jim Caldwell. And of course, you were there for all of him, and then I think Matt Patricia came in your last year right before you got traded to Philly. But
Oh,
oh, that's I was
says
about
a
to say
lot.
the difference between what exactly, because a lot of lines have said a lot of things about Matt Patricia. What was the difference like between Jim Caldwell and Matt Patricia in Detroit?
Jim Caldwell was like a father figure, and he just had so much knowledge, and he was so confident in what he knew and what he said. And when he would walk into the rooms without anyone, we've been in the middle of discussion, he walks into a room, you get quiet and you start leaning in, because when he opens his mouth, it's always so powerful. And you're like, what are you going to tell me? Because it's going to be so enlightening. And then obviously he'd won a Super Bowl. He was a great coach. And then we had Matt Patricia coming from the Patriots tree of coaches, which scared me because I'd had Charlie Weiss and I knew what that was kind of about. And then you had Patricia, who came in and just kind of would MF you nonstop, and it was just very to the point, and it was like only think about football, and that's the only thing that matters. I don't want you really ever doing anything else besides football. And it was kind of just not a fun experience. And like for me, coming from Seattle Seahawks with Pete Carroll, and we just won. I guess at this we just won a Super Bowl, so I knew that there's other ways to win Super Bowls besides the Bill Belichick Patriot way, and so it was just like a culture shock. And so it just was like, man, on top of that, on top of the meanness of Patricia, we stunk. I mean, we were always tired. We had nothing left in the tank by the time the games came, and it was rough.
Well, I will say, getting back to that, as we're talking to Golden Tate here, Super Bowl champion, Seahawks, Lions, Eagles, Giants. You did win a Super Bowl the last year in Seattle with Pete Carroll, and it's always fun. You always hear talk about how wound up they are the day of the Super Bowl because it's the Super Bowl. And then you guys go out, the snap goes over Peyton's head, you're up immediately, and really Denver was never really in that game. I mean, what would that had to be kind of a different big game as compared to all the other ones you've played in, because immediately you just race so far out ahead. I mean, the second half of the Super Bowl, Percy Harvin runs a kickback. You're like, it's 30-0 right now up in the Super Bowl. What did that have to feel like, knowing that you clinched the Super Bowl pretty much that early in the game?
I mean, for us as players on that side of the field, it was awesome. It was like, all right, well, I guess I'll start filling my Gatorade bottle up with champagne after Percy Harvin house calls it, because that little hope that Denver could have had was like after half to get a quick 3-and-out, but instead they squib kick us and Percy house calls it. So it's like, all right, well, it's over now. But we honestly that year was just so special for us, man. We just felt like if we just stayed focused and kept doing what we are doing, we had a chance to be world champions. And we never steered off of that. I mean, football was very important to us. I think Pete Carroll did a really good job at keeping everything fresh and keeping it fun for us. We were young. We felt like we could run through a brick wall and not even be sore. But ultimately, like we kind of expected it. And we knew once we got past the 49ers in the NFC Championship at home, we felt like our chances were really, really high to win in the Super Bowl because at that time when we were in Seattle, like between our division was the most competitive, tough division in football, in my opinion. I mean, you had the 49ers that were stacked. I mean, defensively stacked, offensively stacked. And we just, we found a way to beat them. I think we might have beat them 3 times that year, which is hard to do in the NFL.
And those were some wars. I mean, there were no that there was 3 points, 4 points every single time.
Yes, yes. And then we knew they were going to bring it. So once we won a NFC championship at home, we were like, okay, we are really confident that we're going to go out here and beat Peyton and the Denver Broncos. But we didn't know it was going to be like that. We had confidence. We were prepared, but we did not know it was going to get out of hand after the first play, essentially.
Golden Tate, one last question here for you to wrap up really quick, Golden. A lot of people's memory of you, I think, even beyond the football stuff, is Notre Dame jumping into the Michigan State. I believe Kirk Cousins was the quarterback that day for Michigan State, going that far back. Kind of diagram what exactly happened there. Was it just pure instinct? Was it a planned thing? Because that image of you just spreading out, jumping into the band, a lot of people are going to remember that sometimes as much as maybe the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I had no clue that that instant was going to be solidified in like that rivalry forever. Like as long as Michigan State plays Notre Dame, I'm sure that play will always come up and be talked about. And it's truly an honor because these are two very historic universities and programs that have done amazing things before and will do amazing things after me. But to still be talked about, I guess at this point, 15 years later is really, really cool. Now going back to the actual play, like I just remember Jimmy Clausen throws a sky ball that I have to hit the gas for, and I felt like my body clock was telling me, okay, I'm getting close to this end zone. In college, you only need 1 foot down, so I catch the ball, get 1 foot down, and there's the band just right there. I didn't think there was any way that I could stop. And I do remember seeing, I don't know what instrument she played. I don't know if it was like a tuba or clarinet, but I remember seeing this little Michigan State band girl, and I was like, okay, if I keep going, I'm going to absolutely destroy this girl. And so I thought very quickly, maybe, I don't know if I was thinking a reaction, but I said, okay, let's just jump and land on everybody and makes it easy on everyone. Everyone catching about 10% of me is great. No one gets hurt. Do you not understand? Like the band went, and I just landed on nothing but plastic chairs. Thankfully, we had adrenaline going at that point. I crawl out of there with a touchdown, like definitely probably in some pain, but adrenaline's masking it. And I remember that night, like, man, I don't remember getting hit too much, but I'm sore. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's probably when you fell on like a dozen chairs. And that was like kind of that moment.
And some poor French horn player is a pretty cool story. Golden Tate almost knocked me over. Thank you so much for joining us, Golden Tate. 8,000 yards, Lions, Seahawks, Eagles, Giants, Notre Dame, a fantastic NFL career. And now he's doing great work with Smirnoff. He's going to put his pickleball skills to the test. Golden, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And one more thing before I let you guys go. If you're in Michigan in the Ann Arbor area, please come hang out tonight from 6 to 10 at Wolverine Pickle. It's going to be a heck of an event. We're going to have the Smirnoff SMASH Vodka drinks. We're going to have a DJ, food trucks, exclusive merchandise, and it's going to be a vibe. So come hang out. And you might even get a chance to play me at Pickleball. So come hang out, Wolverine Pickleball. See y'all tonight.